And to me, it's like never stop communicating. So we still have to be in touch to, and not feeling like there's like a threat everywhere because we don't have that much control over the big decisions when you are not involved into the political activity. But what we can do is just like first exchange and not open your one's mind, but just like share discussion in this. So for me, that's just what really matters. And sure, music is a good help for that because that's our first start point. Sure, at a show, there is a show, and then you're gonna see your bands, and then you're gonna meet a lot of people, and then finally you can share some point of views about it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters in That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. And today I welcome a very special guest. And today we welcome Julien from the French death metal band Gorod. How you doing today, brother?
Hello, yeah, I'm fine because today's actually tonight because I'm still located in France. So hello from France, and I'm fine. Yeah, it's like Sunday day, sunny evening. Everything's
Oh,
fine.
it's all good.
Yeah,
A typical French evening, as they would say. So
yeah, yeah. It's like it's just the sun is just disappeared right now.
that's good. Are you in and around Paris by any chance, or are you in a different part of France?
Actually, I'm the only one who's living quite far away from the others because other band members live in the area of Bordeaux, which is the southwest nearby the ocean, and I live like in the northeast part of France, so like 6 hours away from Bordeaux. So it's Burgundy, so also famous for the wine. So we are both living in the wine regions. So yeah, this is why it fits actually.
All right. And I guess I'll practice my French here too. Bonjour, Julien. How you doing today?
Bonjour, bonjour,
Bonjour.
Brian. Bonjour. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
You got it.
Or I guess how do you say good evening?
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Okay, there we go.
Bonsoir. Yeah. Evening is soir. Yeah.
Okay,
Short for once.
that's good. I guess outside of that, how you the boys been recently? I guess you guys got some new material in the works.
Yeah, we actually were working on it. We are working from the new album, which is the album number 8 now. And it's on a mixing process, and I guess the mixing is soon ready. And then it's gonna be the mastering, but we actually do everything at the same time because for a long time that band is working in some kind of do-it-yourself process, and this is that way we're working. So we're making the music ourselves. The recording session is actually directed by our mastermind music composer Mathieu, and also working together with our actual sound guy. So the man who is making sound for us in live, but also helping us out for the mixing and the mastering. And so, yeah, this is almost ready. Like I guess, like in a couple of days, we can send the master and go to to the actual production. So, yeah, the album is almost over and should be released someday,
Eventually,
eventually.
yes. We don't make any promises just yet, so we'll say eventually. So
Yeah, eventually.
okay, but we are getting there. We are getting there. So patience, people. We say patience. So
Yeah, no, no problem. But we'll try to to do it fast, actually. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, everything should be set up like in the middle of spring, and we should release it by the end of summer or something like this.
all right. Good luck there, Trooper. Can't wait to see what you
Yeah,
got.
yeah,
And actually, I give a shout out to Justin and Andrea from the Jumping Up podcast or Jumping Up Conversation podcast
yeah.
because I think at some point you guys were maybe on a tour and made a stop in Arizona, and I guess you lost your hotel reservations. I'm not too sure if that was the story. And you chilled at their place. Is that the story?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because yeah, time to time we had some. accommodation that was scheduled, but time to time it's not happening. And so, yeah, so there were many shows that was saved by people, and directly in that time, yeah, we were they were really helpful because. Yeah, usually in Mesa we have some friends over there that were not available at that moment, and so we just like yeah, the only way was to get a motel, but yeah, and then he just asked us if we were like down for it, and say we accepted because yeah, sure, this is always better to get some hospitality than spend way too much money on the hotel and accommodation like this. That can be sometimes crappy, and so also usually, you don't have that much time to get some rest. Like, the end of the show is running late and packing up everything. It's like it's getting close to 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and then from 6 or 7 you have to leave. So sometimes it doesn't really worth it. So yeah, that time he told us, oh, you can sleep a couple of hours and have a breakfast. What? A breakfast? Okay, we stay here. And so yeah, that was the opportunity for us. So yeah, really welcoming dudes and the family as well. So yeah, very nice memory over there. Even if it was scorching hot, like usual, as usual in Arizona.
That's typical Arizona weather, actually. So,
yeah, that's insane. This is not even summer. This is you're in a volcano the whole time over there. It's insane.
Yeah, and actually, I did interview him a while back, so that's how I was able to find out about that story. And
Yeah.
if you want, afterwards, I'll share the link with you for the email as well. So
Okay. So
Hey.
you heard of it.
Oh yeah, but I guess other than that, we'll go ahead and jump right into the questions and everything here too. But we always need an introduction, so. Julien, welcome to my podcast here, mate. And the way it's going to work is I just want to ask you some questions, get to know you more, both as the musician, also as the individual as well here too, as well as the other band members as well. So, are you ready?
Yeah, you have to introduce like everyone, all of them. So yeah, because,
Well, maybe more so like what role they play in the band, and then I guess how'd you guys meet overall? But we'll get to that in a sec. So.
Yeah, we have actually a very classic lineup, like a rock lineup. We are 5 musicians. So I'm the singer. So this is what I'm. Yeah, there are a couple of guitars there because I'm also a guitar player. Because yeah, a lot of singers also play the guitar to understand the notes and the music. It helps a lot. And so there are 2 guitar players. So Matthew is the original member who founded the band and is the main composer. I mean, Matthew is the one who makes the music, makes the production, makes absolutely everything. And then Nico is the. Not the latest musician who came up to the band because he joined the band in 2010. And indeed, Gorod was previously named Gorgasm and it was founded in 1997. So it starts to be an old band, more or less. I also joined the band in 2010, just like Nico. And Nico is the second guitar player. I mean, the solo man. So the man who's been shredding stuff, super fast things. And, younger generation who was raised by YouTube videos and learned sweeping and all that crazy stuff easier than we did previously. And also there is Barbie, our bass player, who is one of the main character of the band because he's also a part of the founding members. So there are 2 old guys who was born in 77. So different generation, and so this is the bass player and Macho the guitar player. Then the youngest is Nico, the shredder, and then the latest guy who joined the band is actually Carl, our drummer, and he joined the band in 2013. But from that moment, from 2013, the lineups remain stable, and we are still the same from that moment. So it's it's like 13 years now. Oh, not so bad. And Carol's, absolutely crazy drummer. But, all drummer has to be accompanied by an adult, and he needs it as well. But he's far away from here, so that's fine.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't see this interview. He heard you say that. So
yeah, he's not here. He's not here, so I can say whatever I want. It's fine.
Okay, that'll do.
Yeah.
So just hope he doesn't. I was gonna say watch your back afterwards. So in a joking way,
No, yeah, that's the drummer.
He's always behind us anyway. He's always behind us. So.
He doesn't really speak English, so that's fine.
Okay. Actually, I did want to start with you because I guess what's your backstory? And I guess how did you become Julien, the frontman of Gorod?
So I always wanted to be a musician, like a professional was one of my purpose in my life, and I've been like actually founding many bands. But first of all, I'm a guitar player. So I started as a guitarist, as a composer, playing more not that techy music, but more chaotic and dissonant stuff. I'm really into, like we call that noise core back in the day, but they call it math core now, so it's a different generation. And I'm from actually, I really belong to the period of the bands from the, let's say, the very late 90s and the beginning of 2000s, like Dying Fetus, Cryptopsy, the Dillinger Escape Plan. I mean, the first version of a Dillinger Escape Plan, Old Converge, and so that, and Candiria as well. So that's my generation, a mixture between very techy, weird, with, let's say, odd type signature, mathcore, and also extreme brutal death metal, like the Mike DeSalvo era of Cryptopsy and Dying Fetus. For me, Killing an Adrenaline and Destroy the Opposition were my things. And also the very early Behemoth, like the Talmud 6 and those kind of albums. So yeah, that was my purpose, to play in bands like this. So I came from that milieu. And sure, I always been loving tech death metal. I have like 400 or 500 records of tech death, so I'm into it. And yeah, I've been playing like in 10 or 15 bands, something I don't remember, because when we were in high school, we was found creating new projects all the time, and so yeah, I always be willing to play music, but when you are into such extreme music, that's really hard to live in it, and you realize it pretty early, to have a decent income and to pay your bills, your rents, and everything. So, yes, that was not the best option to make that decision with the subgenres, which are not the more popular. So at the same time, I started my studies, and I studied art history. And I'm also working as a tour guide properly. So I'm an art historian, and I'm working in different regions, like in the whole country of France, but I can also work in other places. So I make tours in castles, churches, classified monuments, everything. It can be a village, a big city, and a lot of different museums and things. So in the end, this is all art, and art are connected in different ways. So I'm working both, let's say, in heritage, like architecture, sculpture, and paintings, but also performing is only music, and so all my life is dedicated about that. So this is what I'm doing most of the time.
Yeah, actually, I just did an Andrew. They did say you were UNESCO tour guide. I guess that's just more the professional title. So
Exactly.
I guess, have you gone to the Louvre, done all the stuff in and around Paris, those sorts of things too?
Yeah, man, many times. Yeah, sure. I'm always going there, but not working that much, because that's a pain to be a tour guide over there, because there are some weird policies, and it's overcrowded, like in a crazy way. This is insane. So I just like starting there, visiting a couple of rooms, but probably working there is not a purpose to me. Like, it's way too overcrowded. But yeah, that's interesting, because the collection is one of the craziest of the world. So yeah, but yeah, it's insanely big. I don't know if you've been there, but yeah, for once we have bigger things than America, and this is the Louvre, and this is the only example I can actually quote.
Actually, my mom was actually in Paris at one point. I think it was when I was still in high school, but she only got into the Louvre briefly. I guess because Versailles, as they say, French people tend to go on strike a good bit. So I think they're meant to go to Versailles. The people were on strike, so I decided to go to the Louvre instead. But for me,
Yeah.
it was actually, it was a year before COVID. Actually, it was 2019,
Okay.
and we came from London. And I think one of the nights that we came into Paris, we actually got into the Louvre in the after hours. It was us and another tour group. So we pretty much had the whole place to ourselves. We got up close to the Mona Lisa and all this stuff.
Yeah, that's a really good opportunity because it doesn't happen that often to be to find empty rooms in this in the same place. But yeah, time to time. Well, what I advise usually to tourists is like just go there, but like an hour or 2 hours before they close. It's because like everyone is going out, and you still have like 2 hours. But yeah, in the end, you can really enjoy the work because if you go like as usual at the opening time, like from if you start from 10 or 11 in the morning, nah, that's just insane. So yeah, 2000, yeah, you were at the yeah perfect timing for you. So yeah, this is yeah, there are many things, but yeah, I live like 2 hours away from Paris, and the others like 6 hours. So yeah, this is not their thing. The rest of Gorod live very nearby there are ocean dudes, and I'm more into heritage and old stones and that thing. Yeah,
I would say surfers, that whole deal.
completely.
Stuff like that, yeah.
When you yeah, they are the Californians, I would say, and I'm more connected with the earth.
That's for sure. Actually, the thing I always found funny in the Louvre was, were you real big into bolt thrower by any chance?
The what the but
Do you know about the English death metal band, Bolt Thrower?
bolt flower?
Yeah.
No, never heard of it.
Oh, you're missing out. But one of the paintings.
Oh, sorry. Like, I understood flowers.
Uh,
I was like, flower. Sorry. Yeah, sure. That's our bass player is a super fan from the Fourth Crusade is one of his favorite album ever. This is a bit too old school to me, but yeah, I respect that. They are milestone from for the death metal scene. So, but yeah, this is their.
yeah, there's a slight difference. But the thing I always found funny was the album cover for the Fourth Crusade was actually one of the big paintings in the Louvre.
Yeah, completely. And there are many examples like this in death metal. Like the Blessed Are the Sick, as like is actually a painting from Jean de la Ville. You can find it in Brussels Royal Art Museum, and there are many examples like this. But yeah, sure, the Bolt Thrower is a classic as well. But yeah, sure, that was to put such an epic picture on your cover. So yeah, it makes sense. This is all connected. It's about war, there are many pictures of war. So.
It fits the theme and everything too, but we had to shrink it down in size. This is like a giant, I don't know, 20, 30-foot painting, to be honest.
Yeah, that's inside. Yeah, they were making huge frame because it has to be sold. And when you're back in that time when you were making what they call it history painting, which is telling a very specific episodes, otherwise it has to be a huge frame to show it. And this is the main money maker also for an artist. Like it's his master work, and so this is why everyone remembers it. But yeah, the topic has to be really epic, like those ones. And the Fourth Crusade is we are pretty much connected with that history because this is the moment when the Pope Innocent III started to lose the battle, to lose it, and he started a crusade in its own country. So yeah, we are very connected with that.
Yeah, then there's a whole bunch of drama about the whole thing happening. What was Constantinople, now former day Istanbul. So
yeah, and does it really change? Not sure. I think about
a little bit. I'd say maybe the way they do war these days, but not so much the reasons behind it. So
yeah, the contents and sure, the policy in the end, or what they did, what they really do have in mind. It's pretty similar.
yeah, unfortunately, but we live and learn.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
We're humane, apparently.
Unfortunately, yeah. All right, but I guess let's go ahead and jump into Gorod. So first off, how did the name come about? And I guess when did you come along to join Gorod?
So how did from the beginning, like there are many massive. There was a lot of lineup changes, and from the moment I started to join the band, it started to be more stable. But there have been only two singers in the end. So there was the Guillaume, who was the founding member, just with Bobby and Mathieu. So there are the three original lineup, and they made three albums together. And I joined for the fourth one in 2010. And from that moment, yeah, as I mentioned before, we are releasing the eighth album. So, yeah, a lot of work since that moment. But yeah, sure, there were to me there were like two clear phases. Was that when they created the band from high school, because this is they was just finishing high school back in that time, and also it was unusual for us. There was a girl on drums for the two first albums, and so yeah, Sandrine, and she made an amazing job on the two first album, Neura Trip 6 and Leading Vision. But I already knew them because they're from Bordeaux, but I was originally from Toulouse. And Toulouse is the biggest, the other biggest city from the southwest of France, only 2 hours and a half drive. And we knew each other from that old times, and we were spending, it happened many times that we just like drove all the way there to see them playing live, because it has always been really technical. That was their thing. And I think since the first album, this is, yeah, they still have the same color because Mathieu is making the music. And so you always recognize that personality. So yeah, so there were let's say two Gorod, because there was the Gorgasm era. So with Sandrine on drums, Barbie always on bass, Mathieu on the guitar, and Guillaume on vocals. Then a lot of changes, and then from 2010, 2013, this is the new era with the actual lineup. And sure, we're still trying to make combination of the, let's say, old school, super techy music, and we try to, let's say, to integrate more like progressive melodic stuff. And yeah, I don't know if we really succeed, but yeah, we don't like to do the exact same album all the time, repeating all the same things. Sure, it's always good to play some classic, but you can still pick up some songs and play it live. But yeah, now we are really into trying to develop a new not a new world, not a new way of doing music, but introducing to us to new elements. But at the moment we are in a more progressive direction. And since so that's the second line, and I joined the band therefore, and for 13 years this is going this way now.
So was the first album you appeared on, was that A Perfect Absolution, or was there an album before that?
Yeah, that's actually the first album, Pierce. So this is the fourth album. But before that, they were releasing an EP, which is super long, like 45-minute music. So it's more than an EP. It's named Transcendence because there is a very long song, which is the title track, Transcendence, and it's a 15-minute track. And actually, I started to get introduced to the lineup with a guest vocal appearance. And so I'm doing some vocals on that song, but this is still Guillaume, who is making his last performance. I'm in a studio, that band, and I started to put some new vocals with some clean singings, a bit more hardcore-ish vocal, a bit more with more highs and stuff, because Guillaume was really the classic growler, the grunter, the death metal. Yeah, it's really into that. And I've always been interested in black metal, hardcore, and mathcore, and stoner, a lot of different stuff. So I like to practice different kind of vocal and develop a higher range. But yeah, I was also always into death metal, but not strictly that. And so the Transcendence is exactly the song which defines that transition between the real 100% death metal vocals and then adding some new extras with a bit of clean stuff. And we are still working on it. And I mean, the next album is going to be more that way.
That's good. Actually, yeah, I would say I was listening to a few of the songs, and more so with A Maze of Recycled Creeds, A Perfect Absolution. And obviously you weren't on this one, but the Process of a New Decline, there was a Disavow Your God, which was the song that kind of introduced me to you guys. So
That's the one with Disavow You God is actually the last album from the Guillaume's era, and EP is the transition. But yeah, that one this is one of the more technical, I think, record we ever produced. We still play. I mean, I think we will never stop playing songs from that album live because it works. It's just fine, sounds good, and it's fun to play. It's it's a tough job. I mean, he was composing so like impossible riffs back in that time, but still, yeah, you just have to practice and it works. But yeah, that's yeah, to me, like, yeah, Perfect Absolution was a bit more straightforward compared to Process of New Decline, which was extremely technical. But this is what we tried to do with the fifth album then, with the Maze of Recycle Creed. But for some of us, it was way too technical because this album is extremely complicated. All the structures are insane. There's so many odd time signature and more things like this. And this is the impossible to play albums. Like most of the songs are just a super massive challenge to performing for you. But yeah, from that moment, I don't mean like it was not simplified, but compared to that album, that was this is the epitome of impossible tech music for us. And then we started to make it not more simple, but easier to approach. And so this is what we tend to be around now. So we're still connected with the music that we were producing back in the day from when we think about Process of New Decline or Maze of Recycle Creed. But for us, this era is almost done because, yeah, we did it already. So, and trying to make a copy of the second version of something you already managed to do is kind of tricky. That can be dangerous because you can make just a second, bad recipe. So let's explore other things than trying to copy the old stuff.
actually, that's good too because it keeps you from being what they call a one-trick pony. That whole deal.
Yeah, so. Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, I will say this: A Perfect Absolution. I love that album cover, and then close seconds are Amazing Recycled Creeds. So, does someone actually design those for you guys? Do you know some sort of artist who hand draws them, or I don't know if it was also computer drawn too, if you know what I mean?
So, about the designs, you mean the one for Perfect Absolution?
That one, and I guess all your album covers overall, I guess. Has someone always drawn them, or have they been like computer generated?
No. It's, actually, this is Matthew, still the same composer, was making all the covers from until A Perfect Absolution. So from the beginning to all the previous covers were made by himself because he's also doing some artwork layout for other bands and stuff. Matteo can do everything actually. He started to make his own guitar after the COVID as well. So now he's playing on his own guitar. So he can also do some graphic designs and all that things. But from Perfect Absolution, this is the step brother of a bass player, so this is still in the family, and he's an actually professional graphic designer. So it's not generated or something that is. So that was his job, but it was, not beginning. He was not a beginner properly in that time, but now he's like 10 times better and doing other stuff. And for every album we decided to completely change the artist because the Maze of Recycle Creed is made by the professional comic books writer, probably. So he's just selling comics. So yeah, this is also why the design is like, it looks like a sketch draw. It's probably a real drawing, like black and white and things. But he's doing extremely dark, sketches and drawings. So it was fitting with this album of the atmosphere. So that's the thing. But yeah. All the time we try to hire real professional graphic designer, painters. For instance, Aethra is made by an artist who is actually a professional painter, but most of the time from our surroundings, or more or less, like a friend of a friend or a cousin of someone we know. So we try to make it local, more or less. So that's the main things, but never like AI generated. So we're still not didn't jump into the thing. Or trying to make it more personal, but yeah, one day probably we're gonna be lazy once we're getting old. I don't know, but no, at the moment, no, we still didn't pass that border.
Let's hope it never comes to that. But I guess since we touched that topic here, I guess in terms of AI, you guys never used it for any of the music. And I guess, what do you make of AI these days?
Yeah, it's just I consider it as it's nice as a tool, but it's just a tool to make some, like funny memes or something like that. But to make art properly, stop it. And also, it should be well, I'm an art historian. I've been a researcher as well, and like if you use that tool and think this is the real things and like it can replace researchers, nah, doesn't work. It doesn't replace a doctor or any diagnostic like this. So sure, it's just a tool to make fun, to have some kind of yeah, it can give you some ways or some tips, but not more. Don't ever think that it's gonna be replaced with like as a creative person. And like arts, yeah, that's funny to have some now to listen to some kind of fully AI generated stuff. But yeah, it's funny. Like, yeah, the first minute, then it's just boring and just you get over it. So yeah, to me that it's not gonna be. I don't think it's gonna it can survive more than this. Yeah, sure. I don't know. We are getting closer to 2000. Yeah, 2029. That's the Terminator scenario, isn't it? Skynet destroyed everything. So we are getting closer. Only 3 years. So let's see what happens.
Let's hope it not comes to that, because I bring up that what I call the Skynet conspiracy a good number of times in my interviews. So let's not get to come to that. But I guess, speaking of which, not to sound political or anything like that, but has the
Yeah.
French government, have they been trying to address this whole thing with AI? Maybe some sort of regulation?
Um, Not really AI, but social networks. I mean, and now I think this was not that long ago, like 6 months ago, the president was like, "Oh, people are getting violent because of video games," and oh, man, there have been like 10 studies about it for time. It's just repeating the same thing because to get the electors, so the old generation say, "Oh." Yeah, and GTA 6 is super violent. This is why the kids are killing people. Video games don't kill people, but yeah, just like always repeating the kind of stupid. This is just the way to gain votes to get, yeah, to get elected. This is just a strategy. No, nothing, nothing real. So that was the last move. Actually, it was probably done to control over social media, central, but it's not really happening. This is just blah blah on the news, just to be reassuring with the older generation. They keep voting for you, but in the reality, nothing really happens about that. So this is still the same global shit, I would say. Nothing really surprising, nothing really new. So just repeating always the same story with different tools, but same scenario.
We should say this is the start of the campaign. Julien for president. So, yeah.
No way. I'm really not into political stuff. I like to study it because when you're studying history and all that things, that's really nice to see the repetition of cycles of phenomena, and it helps a lot to understand. Like, sure, when you're studying the past or the close past, then you can understand a bit more what is happening. Doesn't mean that you are able to change it, but it gives some critical minds, and this is what I really need to develop and to transmit. As a tour guide, time to time there are some very VIP, the real important people who actually pay to hear me talk to them. So when you have a politician in front of you, like usually he He's talking. He's never listening to anyone. And time to time, he's listening to me, and I'm trying to manipulate his greedy mind to make him a better person. No, it never worked, but yeah, at least it was a try.
I guess so. But hey, if we need a tour guide, can we turn to you in case we ever come back to France?
Yeah, sure. So anytime, just yeah, let me know. I'm working like in very different region in the southwest a lot because I'm originally from there in Burgundy now because I live there with my lady and I'm working in that region in Bordeaux and also in Paris. But Paris, yeah, I'm more into like searching for smaller museums, smaller location than the big ones because the big ones, yeah, I overcrowded, but I can be a tour guide for anything you want. If you're into art or wine, wine is very important, in France too. There are a lot of tourism about that. So yeah, sure, anything. This is my job, and peak season is gonna start pretty soon, like the next month when we are changing time actually. Because yeah, sure, at the moment it's dusk because yeah, 7:30 is night, but like next week is gonna be 8:30. So from that moment we can spend more time outside, and tourists will come over here, and you can come over here. I'm open to any, and just tell me what do you want to see, and I'll give you all. I'm done for it.
It might be a while because actually recently my parents they brought up a nice little trip. It's actually all in around Ireland, and there's also the Balkans, which actually is a nice trip along the Adriatic Sea right there. So
Yeah, there are so many beautiful places to see over there. Yeah, Balkans is, I don't know that much. I've been many times in Slovenia, but never in Croatia or Serbia or that part because yeah, it takes time and there's so many places to visit. But also, I'm already working in those kind of places. So when you are working, you don't have time to to go out on the right season. But yeah, Balkans are insane. In Ireland is beautiful, but I'm from the south and it's a bit too rainy for me. But yeah, it's green. And when you see that the land is green, it's maybe for a reason.
good amount of rain. So yeah. All right. So I should get back to the band Gorod. I guess from a perfect absolution onwards, I guess have you been the primary songwriter or have you guys all kind of touched a little bit in the lyrics? And I
No,
guess
no. From the moment I joined the band, I had to write everything because they really didn't want to take care of the lyrical parts because it's actually painful to write lyrics on tech death metal. Like, yeah, you're writing your text and say, oh, that's the perfect match, and then you try to make it fit to the music. Nope, it doesn't work, so you have to rewrite it, and so no, that's really painful. And so they were actually writing it previously with the bass player, and because his mother is actually an English teacher, so that was a good help to have some tips and all that. And they were developing like I would say a real concept album, and they were really connected with sci-fi stuff, like also anticipation. Like Asimov is like sure the top-notch inspiration of that first era. But when I joined the band, I was like, I'm not that much knowledgeable about sci-fi, and I was still yeah, my studies was not still over. I was still studying art history. I was like, yeah, history or art history or heritage is more my thing. And then I was just like spending times in library and opening books which were in nearby the ones I was studying. And I was actually a specialist of the Slavic cultures, and this is why the perfect absolution is dedicated about the birth of Russian cultures on the 10th century, when they were first of all Varangians, so Vikings. The Vikings were sailing to the east and then converted to Christianity. The actual we know, and that episode is very interesting because it's about wars, vengeance, destroying things. It's very death metal. It fits with the first, like the Fourth Crusade album from Bothora, for instance. So this is some kind of same context. These are medieval wars, and medieval wars fit to death metal. Sure. And so from that moment, I was in charge of the whole lyrical writing, and still And I have to write the whole things. And when it comes to write stuff, that's a pain because the music is so complicated. And how you can manage to find a way to make fit some ideas into that with such a, you know, you have no liberty. You have to follow the music. You have to make to make it fit with that. So yeah, this is my job, and I did it. So it's done for that album. Can't wait for the next album. No, I'm kidding. I'm happy it's over now.
That's like, thank God it's over. So yeah,
Yeah, thank God it's over finally.
yeah.
It's on mixing, so it's not my job anymore. I just can say, I don't like this. No, do somewhere. Oh, I don't hear that part that well. So I can be the one who is making some critics about the job because I did mine.
I guess so. But I guess the albums you've been a part of, are they always meant to follow like a certain concept? Or do
Yeah.
lyrics tend to like delve into like philosophy? And it struck me like philosophy, to be honest. But
Yeah, so all that connected. I mean, yeah, the first one, Preferred Absolution is really historical episodes, really, which is just like not translated, but I rewrote some parts to make it fit with the different tracks. Maze of Recycle created from a very, very specific episode of a crazy dude who was Josephin Peladon, who organized like six or seven exhibitions in Paris, which were kind of successful. But this man was like an insane guru, and he wanted to create the new, let's say, a religion of arts. And it was working more or less because when you read the press from that era, everyone was there. I mean, most of the the most famous novelists, the art critics, and some of them enjoyed those exhibitions. But then in the end, it was repudiated by a lot of other people because he wanted to go too far, and the history completely erased. That's the character who is kind of interesting, but he never managed to, to get to the legacy afterwards because it's a funny character, but it also took part to that late 19th century artistry was known as decadence era, and decadence is also very dark pictures and the association between all the mixed spiritualities because that era, this is the second industrial revolution, so the technology was getting crazier, faster, and everything. And so when the world is going too fast, people get more spiritual, but they mix everything and all that with narcotics and all that combined. So this is why we consider it as the decadent era. This is a very short period of time, like 10 years, and before the avant-garde, and then that was the First World War. And all that completely erased all that. We jumped into cubism, Dadaism, art, so crazy stuff. But I've been working on that period. So, that's an album which is on a very, very specific topic. And then I wanted to be a bit more open, jump into more philosophical stuff, like the orb is more a vision of let's say, how human have been developing their mind on the actual world where they live in, how your surroundings can completely influence yourself, the way you are doing it. And so this is how different tribes, people were created. And this is a work of Aldous Huxley, who wrote The Brave New World. So he's famous for that. But he was also an insane philosopher. And there was two, let's say, rivals. They were actually more or less connected, but they were George Orwell and sure Aldous Huxley. And I was more like, I would say, connected with Aldous Huxley, who had a different way of seeing things. And the orb is a complete reflection taken from its own reflection, but with my own point of view. And so a bit more philosophical, but all that is connected, and this is what I like in the end. But there's one album, one topic, and trying to develop that topic with like divided in 8 or 9 or 10 songs, and that's super tricky to do that work. I hate that. I just like when it's done, and now I did it one more time.
it's always like, I did it. They just
Yeah, exactly.
Just fade to the vocal booth.
And I feel
So,
the same. Mathieu, when he's finishing the music, is the same because actually there's some songs gonna be in the new album. He started to write them like 6 years ago. There are some riffs who started to be developed, but to finally reach that final version, like the gigs when you are just like changing the name of the file, and at the end you have the version number 1096, something like that. But the final, real final version is like it's never ending. So same, yeah, same process, same problems for the music and also the vocal writings. But yeah, now, yeah, get ready for the new stuff. We're almost done.
sounds good. Actually, it's almost like this is the legit final version in this case. So,
Exactly. It's like final. So we were exactly. This is exactly what we are experiencing right now.
I guess so. All right. But I guess in terms of our plans, I guess you said about the album coming out sometime in the summer. I guess you guys going to plan to announce a tour pretty soon? Be nice for you to come to Pittsburgh at one point.
Pittsburgh, I would love to because yeah, we had always good times over there. But at the moment, it's kind of complicated to do all the paperwork to get the visas for the US because and a lot
Yeah,
of
sorry.
things are
Yeah, sorry about that. So,
yeah, it happens to us. In 2019, we were touring the Psychroptic Cannabis Corpse, and I forgot. And fuck that, my memory. Maybe it comes back later. And so for that tour, I started because I was in charge of the paperwork and all that shit, like 7 months before the tour, and we never managed to make it to have it on time. So we had to skip like the first half of the tour just because they were late into sending us the papers back. And that was the same president back in that time. And so this is pretty bad memory because all the structure, the US ICS is like actually making the experience painful for foreigners to fill all those crazy papers. And it's, yeah, time to time you can be lucky, but yeah, sometimes it doesn't work. So hopefully we can manage to come back over here, but at the moment stuff, this is a bit too painful. Only that's stupid, but only administrative shit time to time can be really yeah, a big issue. So, as far as we know, at the moment, we are getting focused on a European tour that's going to be happening by the end of the year. And hopefully, then on the next year, start to be working on a US tour or also Canada, because last time we've been in Canada, we just been playing for just a couple of the show on the eastern parts, and we can also, go further. So, yeah, in Canada, near Pittsburgh. Like Toronto is not so far.
I'd
No,
say
that's
actually it's about
massive.
5 hours. It's about
Yeah,
5 hours. So,
yeah. 5 hours for you is a suburb.
sort of. But unfortunately, I don't have to deal too much with the traffic jams and all that stuff. Not anymore, at least. It used to be pretty bad back in the day. I used to work in town. So, it's all
Yeah,
good.
I know that, but yeah, for us as European, it's easier to do the visas in Canada than in the US at the moment. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe things are gonna change. And I know that Obscura managed to just land up, and for them, I don't know how they do it, but yeah, it was fast. Maybe they were paying more though. I will have to keep them ask question and figure it out. But yeah, it's always a question of that's things. So yeah, by the end, hopefully, like in 2027, I'm gonna start to think about like touring at least in Eastern US or I don't know. There is nothing on the pipe right now, but maybe we managed to get some offers and I'm not really working directly with the tour, the booking agencies, all that. I'm more interconnected with the tour manager work. Once everything is booked, everything is scheduled, it's done, and then you have to do the job on the roads. But I don't know what are the actual plan about crossing the ocean on the next year. So hopefully it's going to happen because we always have good time playing in the US, and we've been touring like 6 or 7 times. I don't know, something like this. So even more than Europe actually last year's. So yeah, why not?
It'd be nice,
I'm
but
I'm open to it, to any actually.
I would say, hey, you're welcome to stay at my place if you ever need a place to stay. If you come to Pittsburgh,
In Pittsburgh, so the city
yes,
with which features more bridges than Venetia. That's it.
pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what they know us by is more so because of our bridges. So,
Yeah, we have so many bridges. Yeah, it's just cool. But I had a good memory there.
all right,
Gorod.
I'll hold you to it. But let me know whenever you guys eventually get your visas and everything and are ready to come back to the States. Welcome
I
back with
hope
open
so.
arms.
Yeah, then yeah, thank you in advance. I hope we're gonna make it, and
Hopefully,
before getting too old, also to play this kind of music.
that too. We got time is not on our side and everything.
Perfect.
Okay. So, I guess jumping to the hard topic of COVID a little bit. So, I guess how bad was the COVID for you on a personal level, family wise, and I don't know what you guys were doing music wise at the time, but feel free to share.
Oh no, that was horrible. That was the worst memory ever because yeah, I'm working personally. That was insane because I lost all my activities. I couldn't do anything because I'm always like outside meeting people and like I'm performing music and also performing like conferences and all that was completely forbidden. And so like everything that I enjoyed that was actually yeah, that was my whole schedule completely yeah, it disappeared. And even for us, like us musicians, we were not motivated at all to put out some new stuff because there was no tour expectations. And this is what we are looking for as musicians. Because what is really cool in that band in Gorod, we are all of us are friends, like real friends. And it really happens that time to time I'm going there, I'm joining them over Bordeaux, and there is a practice, a rehearsal, which is scheduled, and there's no practice. We just hang out and blah 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 and drink and say stupid things because we just like to party all together. And so yeah, we are actual real friends. And so during the COVID era, we managed to see each other a couple of times, but not for playing music, just for blah blah blah. And as there were no projects, no expectations, nothing, we'll say, let's do some new music once it comes back. And actually, there are some songs on the newest album who started to be, let's say, composed back in that era, but there was the beginning of it and we never finished it properly. And so finally we decided to put an end to those kind of new experimental stuff. And so it was creative in a way, but we never actually finished something that came from that era. But finally, when when we were free to do whatever we wanted, we made released the latest album, and we made a very special songs, which is named Victory, and the movie clip is 100% do it yourself with our drummer. With it, actually, we parted as animals and he shot it, and we just got crazy because it was like freedom once again. So that's the end of the COVID for us. This is the movie, this is the clip Victory. And he talks about it a bit. So that was the only, let's say, positive things, but in the end I don't see that as just still the same thing. Nothing. There is no conscience has been raised after all that. No eyes that have been properly opened. This is still exactly the same world, processing the same mistakes and enjoying it. So, nah, not a good memory to me at all. I don't know whether to get any more.
Yeah, let's hope not. And actually, what you had to do for work wise, did you kind of take up like a temporary role to kind of pay the bills and all that stuff?
I started to make some. I became like a guitar teacher. So yeah, video, and I started also to make a lot of vocal coaching. I started to also to give English lessons, like for technical English for French people as well. I became a teacher from so many different things, like yeah, improvisation, music, guitar, vocals. So, I created myself my own company, which was just my name, and I spent like 2 years or yeah, two years working that way. So most of that work was done in video. So a lot of Zoom, Skype, and all that things were my friends back in that time, and I'm not using it so much again. So which is pretty cool. But yeah, that was the only way to survive to pay my bills. So I first of all I improvised myself as a guitar teacher because yeah, I know how to play the guitar, but a lot of people had instruments at their home and they never touched it, so they were completely beginners. So easy to yeah to teach them stuff. They just wanted to kill time and to sing along with old songs, and that's it. So yeah, I was a teacher of that.
That's pretty good. Though it seems like if teachers have to use like Skype or Zoom, it seems like they kind of get a little traumatized since it's hard to, at least most like music teachers, because it's hard to actually hear what they're doing or tell them to stop whenever they're screwing up at a certain spot. So yeah,
Exactly, yeah. But that's a very useful tool. That it helped us to survive in a way. So, but that was very unhuman in the end because yeah, and it was as everyone was using it, probably the service was not that good. It was lagging all the time. You cannot. The screen was like pixelizing or whatever. And yeah, some of the software, the apps were not that much developed and right now, so they've been fixing some errors in it. So, but in 2020, actually Skype was not working so good. For the sound, it was better than Zoom. And Zoom it was insane because it was like just compressing the sound. Like talking was fine, but the guitar via Zoom was a nightmare. I remember so because yeah, it's just like but yeah, that was that era, and I tried to, yeah, to make it work that way. But I'm happy to, I don't have to do it anymore. I prefer to give lesson or like in person, but not that way.
yeah, that's for sure. And did you lose anybody during COVID? I think we want to give a shout out to anyone who was lost during COVID. I guess were you and the family okay?
Family, yeah, yeah. Personally, there were none of us, of the bands, we had proper problems directly connected with that. So, and it's not on. No, there was no problem like personal or family disaster. The episode, the actual problem there was the lockdown, but not the virus properly. In my surroundings, I mean, so I was pretty lucky with that. It's not the case from other people I know from far, but about us, all five of us, I mean, yeah, we were pretty lucky. So, and also we were in a region that was not that much touched because it was really spread in northeast, the very northeast of France. So this is where there was a disaster. The southwest, we were the last to get it, and even the hospital was busy, but okay compared to the rest of the country. So we were in the best region about that. So yeah, we got lucky in the end.
That's good to hear. So
Yeah.
good to see you. The family are doing well there, Julien. Keep going strong.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot. Sorry for all the things and mistakes, but yeah, I had insane schedule and like driving all the time because I'm moving
Constantly
all the way
moving, all that stuff. So yeah,
from. It's insane. Yeah, yeah. And tomorrow I'm driving like 9 hours, something like this. Once again, I've just been driving 6 hours now till the interview. So here I am. So we made it finally.
yeah, it's just the interrogation room at this point. So
Yeah.
all right. But all seriousness, good to see you do well there, mate.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your patience and all that. But we made it
Somehow, if we want to say it that way. So
somehow.
somehow. All right. Actually, are you guys real good friends with the other French metal group, Gojira?
Yeah, sure, but we know them for a long time, but now it's been a long time we haven't seen them because they're so big. So We met Christian again like a couple of years ago. We playing on a festival, and he was just hanging around there. But we know them since 1997. Yeah, they were playing in the same contest, yes, contest for kids in a very small venue in Bordeaux, and Gorgasm and Godzilla, that was their name back in the day, were taking part in the same contest. So, and we are located in this the southwest, and Bordeaux is very near the location where they were actually born and raised. The two brothers, they're from the Landes, and this is the next department. So it's just like it's an hour or 2 hours away from our place. So yeah, we know them for they used to be the stars from the local heroes, but now they are not really locals anymore. After the Olympics, not local at all, and they actually live in the US now. So well, now for a long time. But yeah, we knew them back in the day, and sure, yeah, and there are many, but I mean, in our subgenre in France, there are not so many. No, like 2 weeks ago, I was so friends of us, Igor, who became massive now, and actually the singer was playing in a death metal band which was named Sword Crown. And so there was kind of behemoth like, so very blackened death metal stuff. Yeah, but now he's the singer of Igor. So yeah, this is yeah, those bands became crazy big. But also the bands like Death Metal Mega, but they never perform live, unfortunately. And so there are a lot of stuff, but very different music most of the time. And also Fractal Universe, some of the two guys play in Obscura. We've been touring together on our latest tour in Europe in February, and they're insanely good musicians as well. But it's more progressive stuff. So, I mean, tech death metal, we are not the only ones, but almost, unfortunately. Maybe it's too old school for the new generation because we are not playing deathcore. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got thrown to breakdowns every now and again. So
Yeah.
actually, it was more so. The question was more like, how's the music scene been from your perspective since they started lifting restrictions from the lockdown? Do you think there's been a nice big resurgence in the French death metal world?
Same bands because yeah, so there was it's evolution as I mean, some of our friends joined to band who got bigger, but I didn't see a big difference. Like really, to me, it's like there was just COVID was a blackout, and then we just came back to life and kept going like it was before. But all what happens after that was actually already processed before that. So this is just the continuation. But also probably that there are more. That's just a point of view or an opinion, I would say, because I'm not sure about it. I've never checked the numbers, but I think that the real extreme music bring more crowd than before the COVID. To me, like very extreme shows are more packed. For instance, I remember Suffocation playing in my city before the COVID. It was like less than 200. They play after the COVID more than 400. Fuck that. What happens? So probably some of the newest generation started to realize that slam death metal or deathcore was created by those bands, and then they were hyped more. But for us in the French scene, yeah, sure, extreme band as Igor became from big band, like now they're huge. And so I think that extreme metal having a better success. So maybe this is probably the taste of the people who changed or getting into more extreme stuff. But yeah, to me, I feel like after the COVID, let's say the extreme stuff started to be more trendy than it started to be. So that's the difference. Yeah, more extreme bands bring more people to their show. Yeah, to me that's the only change.
That means we probably need more breakdowns, or I guess that's what I don't know if that's what the extreme bands are doing, but I know Suffocation has been credited for kind of doing some of that deathcore sort of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, they were the first to do it. Eternal Suffering as well. Super old school stuff from fucking California. I still have the CDs here.
Actually, Suffocation was more New York, but
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, Suffocation, but Eternal Suffering or from they were
oh, not bad.
the copy, yeah. Well, and I think that's the first record that was produced by Jason Sukov. He made that CD. I just realized that when I really listened to it. Oh, everything is so much connected. But yeah,
We're connecting the dots as we keep going through here, man. So yeah.
but there was the East Coast, the West Coast, and both sharing. Yeah, they're different vibe, but time to time it's hard to recognize because when it comes to this gorge, or for me, which is a classic, and this gorge is completely West Coast and Suffocation East Coast, and now they're just combine it, and it works.
Like we said, somehow it works. So yeah.
Somehow.
All right. But on a serious note, keep going strong to France. Make us proud there too. And be a coupla. What you're saying during the Olympics. So
Yeah, mea culpa, yeah. That's it. Ça ira, les aristocrates on les pendra. Yeah, like a classic revolutionary song when we cut the head off the kings.
I'll just say, yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do that again. Good old school traditions.
Actually, just for the audience, I was going to say, for the audience, what does that translate to? Mea culpa.
Mea culpa, it means like you're sharing your culpability, you're recognizing your guilt in a way. So I was guilty for that, but you admit it.
So it's like, I'm guilty. So
Yeah.
that almost sounds like it.
I'm so sorry. So that was my bad and blah, 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 blah. So is it honest or not? But that's a mea culpa in the end. So they did it and they admitted that they did something wrong. But is it only to get the views, to get the approval from the people, or is it gonna change or not? Yeah, mea culpa is about that. It's like the king say, "Oh, my bad. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that I was hurting people. So yeah, don't cut my head off." Yeah, okay. Gonna be saved or not? And yeah, apparently it didn't work for that king. It was the first 16th.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Marie Antoinette, unfortunately. So yeah.
exactly.
All right. But nonetheless, keep going strong, my friends, and make us proud. So
Yeah. So, well,
all right. So now we jump into the fun topic of gear. So I guess what you got, and I guess what sort of brands do your other players use in terms of like guitars, drums, and bass?
there are a lot of stuff where actually self-made instruments are the main composer is making his own guitar now. The shredder is endorsed by Hornsby, so it's an Australian brand, if I'm not wrong. But I think they're doing a signature for Psychroptic as well. So he's playing an Hornsby, and our bass player. All of them are kind of customs. So most of them, because he loves super long scales, like no one has such a long one. So he's always like mixing different parts of the guitar and making a weird combination. And this is a guitar. So there is sometimes there's a neck of a charvel and there is a homemade body and all that's connected. So our bass player is doing his stuff himself, and our drummer made like a costume from like very small company from Bordeaux as well. So actually we like to work local as much as possible with our own stuff, and do it yourself. Like it's a very good way to define Gorod. We've been doing ourselves most of the stuff. Even the recording studio is a DIY stuff. Most of the preamps also were like made because they've been studying. Our bass players are also electricians first of all, and they know a lot of electronic stuff. So they are completely nerds, and nerds are into that, and they love just biting. They know what What shall I buy a fucking $2,000 stuff as I can do it for almost free with some, some parts, and then I arrange it myself and wield it and well, so yeah, but most of the companies are to me are yeah. Orange is the only one I know, and our drummer, the drumsticks. I forgot what he's using. I'm not really the gear guy because you know I'm the singer. I'm always I'm spending time at the merch, selling some fucking t-shirts and CDs and chatting and blah blah blah. But yeah, that's all what I can say right now. Sorry.
Totally understandable there too. But I guess what do you got? I guess what kind of guitars are those back there? Are they like Ibanez?
I have a Les Paul, but a weird one as Les Paul from '85. So this is named a Studio Custom. So this is a mixture between a studio and a custom, so kind of weird. I have like a seven-string French old guitar, which is the Lag. It doesn't exist anymore. This is the forgotten brands. Um, I have a Martin, but as a acoustic. Like the not a the 18 because it was too expensive, but it's a G16 GT, and yeah, just to playing more acoustic stuff, and also like a custom guitar from a very small company named Maestria. And so they're from Nantes, and they're doing more and more guitars for bigger bands now. So yeah, but it's like a long scale one. So for yeah detuned stuff, you know, deathcore breakdowns. No, I'm kidding, but yeah, low tuning and all that thing. So, but yeah, my guitar is definitely my Les Paul from '85. So she's almost old, as old as me. Yeah, from '82, and so yeah, that's so very nice guitar. I'm a really a Les Paul guy.
That's cool.
The,
And I guess sorry, I was going to ask about the mic. I guess is that the mic you just use for in this studio, or have you brought that to like the studio to actually do your vocals?
Yeah. This is a SM7B. It's a classic, super easy to handle. So, yeah, I'm recording my own vocals with that in the studio. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm using the S Electronics SE7. Like everyone is using that now because it's cheap and it's reliable and works. And it's a bit more modern than the Shure because the Shure SM 57 is like 58 is the classic, but it's pretty too middle ranged. And I was really into Sennheiser, but they're too fragile for me because I was breaking like every 3 months. I had to buy a new microphone. So the SE Electronics version 7 is like unbreakable, just like a fucking Shure SM58. So I'm using it like live, but yeah, for as a studio, SM7B is fine. It's not too expensive. It doesn't sound insane, sure, but for death metal, you have to growl on that microphone. That's fine. It's not opera, so that's cool.
Yeah, probably go if they were not doing opera. Those sorts of microphones.
Yeah,
So
it does the job. It does the job for extra music.
that's good. Actually, I did forget to ask. How did you learn to do the whole growling? I guess even your entire vocal ranges for Gorod. Did you have to kind of do it yourself, self-taught, or did you actually have somebody kind of teach you how to do it?
No. I learned it myself because yeah, there was no lessons, there was no school back in the time, so it was like in the school, and you know there was a break, so everyone it was very noisy all around, and then you had the opportunity to scream a lot. So I was practicing that way, and also on the way to school because I was riding my bicycle. Sorry, to go to school when I was a kid, and so I had time to scream. So I guess that for the people around would be weird because they could hear me like just like riding my bike, And so it was good for the cardio. And so this is how I was practicing, because I was listening to the music and like, so how can he does it? So I tried to copy. Sure, George Fisher is one of my first inspiration. And sure, when I listened to Vile album, I was like, fuck, that's insane, because this is fast vocal and this is perfect. Gallery of Society is like one of my first, let's say, school. This is a school to me. And also sure, the old, let's say, Sepultura, Rise, that was my thing. And then try to, yeah, to repeat it, but just prying it myself. So the problem is that I was breaking my voice most of the time, because you just screaming the way you can. And time to time, you had to get some corrections. And right after recording the album A Perfect Absolution, there was a friend of mine who was a classic, let's say, vocal teacher, but she didn't know anything about the technique I was using. But she just made some correction of my body structure, how I was using my yeah, anything like yeah, like your shoulders don't have to be stressed, so you have to to do some stretching, understand all the how does it work inside of that. All your muscles also are actually involved into that. So she just like, yeah, she gave me a couple of lessons just to make me understand that's how does the machine works. And then I just learned from that and and combine it all what I learned myself, and then now that's fine. And also I started to be able to make some vocal coaching, as I mentioned before, after the COVID, and I became myself a vocal teacher. But now, as I don't have to do it again, and we can just do music, I'm not teaching anymore that much, because it takes a lot of time. And just like being a tour guide and musician at the same time, wow, the schedule is already super full.
Not enough time for free time afterwards. So yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
All right. That's pretty cool. And I figured it was always, you had to do it like self-taught. So it's basically back in the 90s. There really
Yeah.
wasn't anything to go off of. They were more like maybe the harsh, maybe what you got with the thrash groups. They may have spoke a little fast, but maybe the guy did like a little somewhat opera. I don't know if I'm thinking of Violence, maybe the early Violence back in the day. And try getting
Yeah.
like those high-pitched screams or something. So
Yeah, how to reach that, because yeah, it was something like a magic, because there was no explanation, there was no tutorial on YouTube or all that. We had to just understand, yeah, how does he manage to do it? So the only way was to go see them live. So then you get closer, because with the recorded studio version, time to time, it's just impossible with all the effects that are added, so the way the voice is treated with the EQ and all that. Hard to understand what is happening. So yeah. That's it's cool, but yeah, now I mean the kids can learn everything just by scrolling, so too easy for them. Doom generation.
the doom scroll generation, if we want to say it that way. So
Completely.
it's always like, Monsieur Julien, how do you do that? That whole deal.
How do you do that? You do it. Fry screen. Rule. Let's go.
I was saying you try to do the big squeal too. That whole deal. So all right, that's all good.
Yeah, so that's fun to do.
Yeah, those are interesting guys. So all right, but congratulations there, Ben, and good job with the voice there too. So I do have one more question before we jump into some extra fun ones, but the last one here kind of deals with challenges. So given your experience, I guess, pretty much over this decade, last 13 years, really, what do you feel like has been a real big challenge for you guys as a group? Is it more so promotion, marketing, getting the tours down and everything?
What is challenging is like doing like 10 different jobs but a musician. Like you spend most of the time doing everything but play music. And that's yeah, time to time challenging. And to be honest, the more what is the hardest, definitely were the first US tour, when we had to do everything ourselves. Like, I mean, driving ourselves and the countries just a bit big, traveling like insane distance, and to be like, and every night you have to perform a show. But you have first of all to load in, to set everything up, to make some sound check. We never had time for sound check actually, and then take care of the merch. Think about how to handle it, how to sell it, to order enough products to be able to sell it on tour. So in the end, you were selling merchandise in the end. So it's like you're more in charge of a shopping action than the proper band. So this is everything that is connected with the music business, but it's not about playing music. That's the most challenging stuff, and you have to do all that without sleeping. Not that much, because long drives, no good food because you're not home, so you're never cooking for yourself. And so that's also pretty challenging when you have to deal with truck stop gastronomy with super warm coffee, which is there is no coffee into that, but it costs hell. And so all that combined, this is the hardest, like to still be able to play your stuff and to give your best with no energy, with nothing, with no comfort at all. Yeah, that's really challenging. And once you get back home, you feel like you're 10 years older before you started the tour. So in the end, yeah, that's the hardest thing. And also, yeah, time to time, also writing music, but now writing music is just painful for the mind. It's not really physically, and it's just one job probably. And today, like, I mean, being a musician is not only being a musician. You have to be a graphic designer, you have to be a promoter, a book agency, you have to be a driver, you have to be blah blah blah. You have to do everything, so many things, and all that combined make it really challenging. And to me, that after 13 years, yeah, this is still real. And for the next tour, we have to think about so many details and everything but playing music, and that's the painful part, but this is how it is.
It's sort of the yin yang, if you want to kind of like the whole balancing act there too. Yeah, we make killer music and all that stuff. We have fun doing it, especially
Yeah,
going on stage. But it's everything else behind the scenes. It's like,
yeah,
God, this is painful. So yeah.
and there's balance in the end, but yeah, after that there is pain. So also what is nice is that you are not really cheating, you're not really acting that you are suffering, because you suffer for real. When you're screaming, I'm really exhausted, I just want to get some sleep and do nothing. But no, that's not what's gonna happen. You're gonna get, you have to to perform a show. You have to think about so many things. You have to survive. Just only that. Because yeah, the life expectation of a musician is not the best. As far as I know, the touring life expectation.
Yeah, I can say why. So, but nonetheless, it's good to see you guys have been going strong for the last 13 years there. So you make
Yeah,
us proud out there, Julien. So,
still.
all right. All right. So, Julien, we have briefs with questions here. So, we're down into some extra fun ones. So, ready?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, we'll start here with the first one. I'm curious if there's a particular dish I didn't hear about, but what would you consider is your favorite food of all time?
Oh, there's so many. Oh, I like so many dishes. That's the problem. I'm really into some stew, just putting in a pot so many different kinds of stuff. But my favorite dish, oh, I have like 10 or 20. That's hard to say. Or a name of a dish. I'm also into Italian foods. I love to even cook myself pasta, the homemade pasta. But there are things that I prefer more than that. The latest, so I actually have been eating a delicious carbonade flamande. So this is a stew with it's a meaty. So I'm not vegetarian, sorry. Um, you're mixing some spiced bread and mustard and like slow cooking process. Can cook it for 10 hours, 12 hours. I'm really into slow cook stuff. You just might let it boil with vegetables and all that combined together. And that one example is something I really love. It so carbonade. This is a banger to me. But this is Flemish. This is from the north and very fat. And at the moment, it's really reassuring. It's really comfortable to eat that when the weather is not good. And yeah, this is my last banger.
It's a brightens up the mood on a bad day or anything like that. So,
Yeah,
all right, that's a good choice. Never heard about that, so I'll have to check it out.
yeah,
So,
carbonade.
I keep thinking I want to say carbonara for some reason. So, carbonara, or
Carbonade with a G at the end. Yeah, it's not raw, and it's a Flemish, so Flamand. If you type
Flemish, okay.
Flemish, then you yeah, it's available. It's the very north of France or south of Belgium.
All right, I'll make sure to check it out.
They love fries over there. Fries like that.
Well, that's what I think some people would say. The French are good with French fries and kissing.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah, that's
right.
a classic. It really works.
That's a bad stereotype, really, but whatever you think about it.
Yeah,
So-
I like it. Yeah,
But we could also throw in metal music there, too. So,
yeah, that fits pretty well to that.
all right.
It's correct.
All right. For the next one right here, I guess, not sure if you drink, but if you do you have a favorite alcoholic drink? And then what's your favorite non-alcoholic drink?
So many as well. But I will say because my family is still making some. It's some sort of brandy. It's not so much famous. The most famous is cognac, but this is the same recipe, and this is actually Armagnac. So this is distillated wine, and then you age it in barrels for like 20 years, and then blend it in a bottle, and then you get it age it how long you want. So this is Armagnac. This is my favorite. This is a strong spirit, at least 40% of alcohol, and yeah, I love that. I'm also I love beer as well, but yeah, Armagnac is the top-notch stuff. It's unmatched stuff. To me, this is the best.
I guess non-alcoholic. Is there a particular soda, milk, or anything? Water?
No, I'm not. I would say coffee. I'm a big coffee drinker,
Fair
but
enough.
yeah, I'm grinding it myself. I like to try, yeah, to pick up the grains, and my favorites are in Costa Rica usually, and Ethiopia as well. They're all changing them, and sometimes Colombia, but yeah, Costa Rica usually is my favorite coffee.
Yeah, I did mention about South America and also Ethiopia having like the best coffee beans that they'll normally pull for you and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, this is really powerful. That's my thing. I also enjoy drinking tea, but not as often as coffee. And coffee, like I can drink it every day, so no problem.
All right. At least keeps you going during the day. So, all right.
Yeah.
All great choices. I'm assuming your schedule's pretty tight, but I guess outside of your main job as a tour guide in the band, do you do any other hobbies?
Other hobbies. I was also when I was younger, when I had more time, I was a windsurf teacher as well. So I was windsurfing, but unfortunately, I didn't have time. The schedule was already full. So hopefully, one day I will have a bit more time. But with my actually, my jobs are hobbies, and yeah, there is no more room for anything else than arts and music and all that.
Fair enough there too. So,
So
hey,
cook,
you never know.
I love cooking for myself, but I'm into improv. I have to make some improv stuff. So not really following a specific recipe. I'm just like, I'm eating like I just like everything. I'm cooking also vegetarian, vegan food, but also meaty. It really depends. It depends what I find in the market. I just go to the market in the morning and see, oh, there's that visual. I'm following the seasons and all that. It depends on the products I find, and then I make something with that. And I spend a lot of time cooking, a lot of time.
That's good enough. Do
Yeah.
I see a future also with maybe in retirement? Is it Chef Julien's Cafe or something?
Why not? But yeah, I've been thinking about it because I also like to do things myself. I was making meat back in the day, but I didn't have time. And I think I'm gonna do meat again. So yeah, and satiate it with some meals. Why not? But meat is still pretty strong. It's good for appetizer. Get to start it, and then forget about eating. And oh,
Oh, wait, we still need to order the main course. We got filled up with the appetizer.
yeah, that's it. But yeah, sure. I will always. I think I will always be into cooking and doing myself my own drinks and all that.
All right, I'll leave it up to you, but hopefully retirement can at least wait maybe 10 more years. So,
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah, I'll see. All right, but all great choices there. And
Yeah.
for lots of fun questions, I guess, what you been listening to recently in terms of music, whether it's independent groups, anyone that be considered mainstream, or anyone in between indie and mainstream?
Lately, because I just saw them live, not pretty recently. It was between the Buried and Me, so I'm listening a lot to them. Once again, this is one of my favorite bands, and the Blue Nowhere is not my favorite album, but there's amazing songs on it. And I've just been re-listening Colors 2, which is actually a banger as well, and the Parallax, the second one is just insane. And recently, I've been listening a lot to that, a bit of hip hop as well, just like Run the Jewels. So I love LP. This is a classic because I was listening to Company Flow when I was younger. So I'm really into East Coast hip hop. So Brooklyn, New York. I'm a super fan of Busta Rhymes and all that scenes. But Run the Jewels, yeah, still a super banger for me, and also a bit of classical music because I went to the opera not that long ago to see some Richard Wagner, and yeah, like the tetralogy, the show The Valkyrie is the most famous, but I saw the second, the third part, which is Siegfried. Yeah, and then yeah, that's insane as well. So and a bit of jazz. Just been recently listened to the Mahavishnu Orchestra. That's just insane stuff. I love John McLaughlin as a guitar player. This is one of my favorite. It's with, and so yeah, recently that's the music I'm listening to.
That's a very interesting blend. But I did see Between the Buried and Me last year. I was super stoked about that.
Oh, this is
So,
insane. This is, and they perform it live is flawless. It's insane.
I wish they had done something from Colors that really would have made the night, but they were doing a Alaska
Yeah.
and the Coma Electric album, which I say Coma Electric, it's not bad, but it's definitely not better than Alaska or Colors. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, sure. There are not so many bangers, but yeah, live. Yeah, some of the songs are pretty good still. So, and they never released really bad albums. It's always good. There is always something very interesting. They're amazing musicians. That's just insane. Love them so much.
Absolutely. So maybe at some point you guys could actually get a tour of them. That would be nice. If that's a tour you come back to States, that'd be nice.
I'm open to that. If it may happen someday, I'm down for it.
We shall have to see, but
Yeah.
fingers crossed. All right.
So, it's 9. Oh, it's almost 9:30 now.
Yep. Actually, I am down to one more question, but actually, before we jump into it, would you like to ask me anything real quick?
No, there's actually nothing really special that comes to my mind right now. Yes. No, this is the end of the weekend for me, so
Yeah. So
it's like I'm not that much inspired right now. The day have been long, so I'm exhausted. I'm super hungry, so no, that's fine. I don't
All
know.
right.
Nothing comes to my
At least
mind
not
first.
yet. Not yet.
Mm,
He'll think about it later, though. So
yeah, probably.
that's why it goes. But if there is nothing else, here's our last question will go. So,
Yeah.
given the amount of negativity that you have been seeing going on in the world these days, I don't know how much you watch in terms of the news or what you've been thinking, what's going on over here at the States, political wise. These days, I feel like people need some sort of hope. So, what would be your message of hope for musicians and people out there so they can move forward with their lives?
And to me, it's like never stop communicating. So we still have to be in touch to, and not feeling like there's like a threat everywhere because we don't have that much control over the big decisions when you are not involved into the political activity. But what we can do is just like first exchange and not open your one's mind, but just like share discussion in this. So for me, that's just what really matters. And sure, music is a good help for that because that's our first start point. Here, at a show, there is a show, and then you're gonna see your bands, and then you're gonna meet a lot of people, and then finally you can share some point of views about it. But never feel that there is no fatality. Sure, the word is doomed in a way, but yeah, those decisions don't belong to us, and probably can do a better world by just talking, exchanging, chatting, and create some new associations or whatever, or anything can be done. So to me, definitely act local to think maybe global later, but always think to act local first. That's my only way of seeing things and doing things before feeling that let's start a proper revolution. So I'm not and won't be the guy that's you're gonna lead the revolution. Yeah, I'll let you go, you do it. I don't have time for that. So first act local, support each other, try to understand what's going on and talk about it and be open to anything that is not your point of view, your mind, and be try to be critical and exchange about it. Yeah, that's what I would say.
No, that's very good speech. But spoke like a true prodigy. So,
Yeah,
all right.
exactly.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Julie. It really does mean a lot. So,
You're welcome. Thanks a lot for your questions, everything, and your interest and all that. So
yeah.
anyway, I hope we can make it back to the US as soon as possible. That's sure our that's the purpose. But at the moment, as I mentioned before, it's complicated. But yeah, let's see. Anything can happen. We already did it a couple of times, so why not seven more times?
Something like that. But
Yeah.
since we have Rich Emma podcast right here, would you like to give any shout outs to anybody?
I don't know. Just keep on following us, chatting, exchanging, having fun together. And so, if it comes that one day we might play in your area, come over here and come hang out and yeah, and have fun. That's all what matters.
And make sure to sign this guy up as your tour guide too. He'll give you a tour, whichever parts of France you need him to. So,
Yeah, if you come over, friends, just give me a call and you will see we can figure out something.
so good. And just for the audience, can you just tell them what social media you guys are on, as well as what streaming platforms so they can check out your music and interact?
So yeah, to check us out, it's always Gorod official on Instagram, Facebook, and the classic all the socials. I think I'm not really good at it. I know that we are on Spotify. I don't have Spotify, but I know that we are on it and other platforms. YouTube as well, but not so much. But to get the news, definitely the two socials we use the most are Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, we are some kind of boomers. We try to live with our times, but yeah, not on TikTok, unfortunately.
Not yet, but I'll leave it up to you
Not
guys
yet.
there.
Not yet. Never say never, but yeah, we are not active at the other moments.
All right,
but
I'll leave it up to
yes,
you guys there.
but yeah, they usually always say Gorod official, and that's it. This is the only way to find us.
Sounds good. All right, and as we close out every story, we have to do it like this. So
Yeah,
everyone, my guest today was Monsieur Julien, hailing from the lovely country of France, right there. He's part of the band Gorod, who's been going strong now, at least in his tenure for 13 years, but they have been around a little bit longer here too. So make sure you go hit him up on socials, all streaming platforms and everything. Let's keep supporting our brothers out there, including all our brothers in Gojira, and I guess all our French bands. I know you mentioned Igor too. So
yeah,
we'll give a shout out to all French death metal bands and every French musician we have right there too. So Julian, I won't keep you long here too. So have a good night there, everybody. And do stay safe because you know there's one pretty fucked up world out there.
yeah,
Rock God. And lastly, strike a pose. Stay tuned, y'all.
yeah. Yeah. Stay connected, yeah, and keep try to enjoy anything, no matter what happens. Anyway,
No, wait, you have to strike a pose.
yeah.
Oh, no horns. We need horns. We need something. Okay.